alcista, con un buen comportamiento. Escuchen.
President, with the current value of the dollar, do you think it's declined too much?
No, I think it's great. I mean, the value of the dollar, look at the business we're doing. No, dollar's doing great.
Trump también hacía referencia hoy con la buena relación de Delcy Rodríguez. Ha insistido que tiene buena relación con el gobierno de Venezuela pese a las tensiones diplomáticas recientes. Escuchen.
Well, I don't know exactly what's going on there, but I haven't heard that at all. No, we have a very good relationship.
Preguntado por las declaraciones de la presidenta interina actual en Venezuela, Delcy Rodríguez, quien ya había afirmado que no acepta órdenes externas. Trump ha respondido ante la prensa durante el día de hoy, justo esas palabras antes de llegar a Eeuu. Dice que no ha escuchado eso en absoluto y que, en su opinión, las relaciones constantes con Delcy Rodríguez son muy buenas y cooperativas. Este gesto representa ya otro giro en la política de Washington hacia Caracas, sobre todo con la combinación de la apertura diplomática por las presiones económicas y por las negociaciones que continúan en materia energética y de seguridad. En un contexto en el que Estados Unidos y Venezuela ya han venido intercambiando contactos desde la captura del expresidente Nicolás Maduro, esa que se llevó a cabo en enero. Hace unas semanas, a principios de enero y de comienzos de este 2026. Escuchamos las palabras de Donald Trump, el presidente de Estados Unidos, cuando anunciaba que va a supervisar esa gran investigación sobre la muerte de Alex Pretty, un ciudadano estadounidense que fue abatido por los agentes federales en Minneapolis este pasado sábado.
As you know, he's in Minnesota now. He's meeting with the governor, and he's meeting with the mayor, I think, later. And I hear that's all going very well also. We're doing a big investigation. I want to see the investigation. I'm going to be watching over it. I want a very honorable and honest investigation. I have to see it myself. You know, you can't have guns. You can't walk in with guns. You just can't. And you can't, listen, you can't walk in with guns. You can't do that. But it's just a very unfortunate incident.
Trump también hacía referencia con Venezuela, dice que van a recibir mucho dinero desde Caracas y que han tenido un momento único y fuerte con Venezuela hace un par de semanas. Escuchen.
Of Venezuela, I don't know, maybe you were joking when you said that. Is the U.S. a de facto member of OPEC right now?
Well, I'll tell you what, we are a very strong presence in Venezuela. We're going to get a lot of money for Venezuela. Venezuela has the largest oil reserves in the world, with the exception, I think, of our country. Yep. And it's bigger than Saudi Arabia. And we had a very strong moment with Venezuela a couple of weeks ago. And we are working beautifully with Venezuela. I will tell you, they're going to do better now than they ever did, than they've done ever at any point. And we're going to be making a lot of money for them and a lot of money for our country. We have a very good relationship with the leaders of Venezuela, and we're going to keep it that way.
Y vamos con una información de última hora, y es que queda suspendida la actividad en al menos 77 municipios de Almería. La actividad lectiva, es decir, la asistencia a los colegios durante esta semana, queda ahora mismo totalmente suspendida, al menos en Almería, Málaga y Cádiz, por la borrasca. Las localidades afectadas pertenecen a las comarcas del Valle de Almanzora y de Los Vélez en Almería, Ronda en Málaga y Grazalema en Cádiz. Según la Consejería de Sanidad, Presidencia y Emergencias, ha decretado ya la suspensión de la actividad lectiva presencial este miércoles durante el día de mañana en centros educativos y asistenciales de 77 municipios de Almería, Málaga y Cádiz. Todo ello debido a los fenómenos meteorológicos adversos provocados por la borrasca Joseph. Según ha detallado en un comunicado del Servicio de Emergencias del 112 de Andalucía, estos municipios pertenecen a las comarcas del Valle de Almanzora y de Los Vélez en Almería, Ronda en Málaga y Grazalema en Cádiz. Además de más de 15 pueblos en la zona de Grazalema, también más de 36 pueblos en la zona del Valle de Almanzora y Los Vélez, y cuentan también con la suspensión en la zona de Ronda. Según estábamos comunicando, queda totalmente suspendida la actividad lectiva durante la jornada de mañana. Y hoy el foco puesto en Irán. También el presidente iraní ha empezado a poner en marcha un paquete de medidas de emergencia destinadas a blindar el suministro de productos básicos y garantizar el funcionamiento del gobierno en caso de nuevos ataques por parte de Estados Unidos o de Israel. Vamos a repasar cuáles son algunas de esas medidas excepcionales por miedo a un nuevo conflicto en Israel. Y es que el gobierno iraní ya ha autorizado los poderes de emergencia para prepararse ante una posible escalada por parte de Estados Unidos y de Israel. ¿Y qué es lo que está pasando en estos momentos? Que el presidente ya ha ordenado que los gobernadores regionales puedan tomar decisiones sin pasar por esa burocracia directamente. ¿Qué quiere decir ello? Que llegan justo en medio de estas tensiones crecientes entre Israel e Irán, pero también van a contar con la presencia de fuerzas militares de Estados Unidos cerca del Golfo Pérsico. Irán enfrenta ya desafíos económicos significativos, también está afectando al valor de su moneda, incluida la devaluación y los disturbios recientes en lo que respecta a la economía iraní. La delegación de los poderes refleja ese cambio histórico en la forma de manejar de manera distinta todas esas emergencias y prioriza la rapidez y la flexibilidad. Según estábamos conociendo durante el día de hoy, la moneda iraní ya se está devaluando, llegando a niveles que hacía mucho que no veíamos, y las medidas implementadas por Irán muestran la gravedad de la situación. Este país que se prepara para posibles ataques que reconfiguran su aparato administrativo y económico para asegurar los suministros básicos y también la continuidad del gobierno. El telón de fondo son estas tensiones geopolíticas que no cesan. De hecho, escuchábamos las palabras de Donald Trump con respecto a Irán. Dice que si atacan, además, el primer ministro israelí, Benjamin Netanyahu, también lo escuchábamos esta tarde, y decía precisamente eso, que si Irán atacaba, entonces las represalias y las consecuencias iban a ser muy fuertes por parte de Israel. Por tanto, esto no es solo una cuestión. Pues ahora sí, comienza el presidente de Estados Unidos, Donald Trump, en Iowa. Vamos a escucharle. Bueno, pues el presidente de Estados Unidos, que ya se acerca a ese atril donde va a comparecer ante todos los ciudadanos de Iowa, justo después de llevarse a cabo esta entrevista con Fox News, dice que han resuelto un problema tremendo en conjunto con Siria y que han salvado ya muchas vidas. Además, han hablado sobre Minnesota después de lo ocurrido este pasado sábado y dicen que van a desescalar un poco la situación. También a la pregunta de Fox News cuando le decían que qué pasará si los demócratas ganan la Cámara de Representantes o el Senado Y dice Donald Trump que entonces probablemente intentarían destituirle directamente. Hace referencia Donald Trump al fuerte dólar que parece que, dice Donald Trump, que está ganando peso, aunque según estábamos viendo en tiempo real, el dólar se ha desplomado hoy aún más durante esta última jornada, después de que Donald Trump hiciera referencia a la situación y el comportamiento positivo del dólar. También ha hecho referencia en Iowa sobre Cuba. Dice que va a fracasar muy pronto y que es realmente una nación que está muy cerca del fracaso. Vamos a recordarles, ha hecho referencia a Alex Preti, el fallecido este sábado pasado, y dice que no debería de haber llevado un arma. Ahora sí, empieza a hablar el presidente Donald Trump. Vamos a escucharle.
Iowa, with so many proud, hardworking American patriots, which is what you are. It's an amazing state. What a place. Boy, do we have some victories here. Were they the greatest? So exactly 2 years ago this month, it was the people of Iowa who put us on a rocket ship back to the White House. It was a rocket. That was a quick one. After a rigged election, we had a rigged election. I said, do we do it again? And I said, I think we better do it again. Not too many people who would have said that, but we did so well the second time. I said, well, we won twice. We got to do it a third time. Should we do it a fourth time? Four victories. 4 victories. We got the right team over there. The right team over there. Well, geez, that would be easy for you. That wouldn't even be work. But you came out by the thousands on a cold and snowy winter evening. Remember that beautiful evening? And together we won the Iowa caucuses in a 30-point landslide. That was great. I'll never forget it. It was so freezing. You think it's cold now? That blew it away. Whatever happened to global warming? You know? Now it's, it's like one of those things. But it was the coldest night. I remember it was way below zero. And they say, sir, you don't have to come till 10 or 11 o'clock because a caucus takes longer. Then I got to call it, like, let's say the polls close at 7. Sir, you've won. I said, I won what? They told me 10 o'clock. They can't announce. They said, you won by so much. They just called it at 1 minute after 7. Right? So we made the journey. And we made that journey through all the cars and everything else, and we made a speech, but what an evening that was. Then in November, we won the state by a massive landslide. That was incredible in the election. And we then went on to win all swing states, all 7 of them. They said 7 swing. Well, he could win 4 of them. He's doing very well, but we won 7. We won the Electoral College 312 to 226. We won the popular vote for the first time of any Republican in many decades by millions and millions of votes. And we won a category that's very important. We won 86% of all counties in America, 2,700 to 525. How about that? Other than that, we didn't do too well. So now we're back where it all started to celebrate the greatest first year of any administration in American history. They say that. Even the radical left is saying, only we did a lot of things. 12 months ago, Joe Biden handed us a mess. We inherited the legacy of record high inflation, the highest inflation in the history of our country. They say the fake news, ooh, that's a lot of fake news. No, the fake news said it's 48 years. I remember recently I said the highest inflation, the worst, I believe this, by the way, worst in the history of our country. They said it wasn't the worst. It was 48 years. I said, that's okay, too. Somehow that sounds even worse than when you say the history, right? 48 years. I accepted that, but I think it was in the history. A mass invasion of our border and our country was being laughed at all over the world. We were being laughed at. We were a joke. Yeah, but not a joke anymore. We're not a joke. We're not being laughed at anymore. But today, just after 1 year of President Trump, our economy is booming, incomes are rising, investment is soaring, inflation has been defeated, our border is closed, totally closed. And America is respected all over the world like they've never been respected. 1 year, I thought it would take us 2 years. I guess I'm following in the great path of John Deere. We got the chairman of John Deere here, chairman and CEO, that's pretty good. I even signed a John Deere hat for him. He said, I'm going to put this in the museum. I said, that's good. No, it's a great company. And you just said you're opening up 2 massive plants because of tariffs. You're opening up one in North Carolina, one someplace else. And then you're expanding all over the place. You're doing a great job. I bought a lot of John Deere stuff. I bought a lot of John Deere. It's a great company. It's an honor to have you. Thank you very much. This has been the most dramatic 1 year turnaround of any country in history in terms of the speed. I really thought it would take us 2 or 3 years to do what we're doing. You know, we're the greatest, the #1 country anywhere in history in the world, anywhere in history for investment coming into the country. And it's amazing. And it's because of tariffs. And it's also because of the fact that we had such a tremendous November 5th. That November 5th brought spirit back to our country, came back. You know, one thing I think which is so important is, if you remember a year and a half ago, we couldn't get people to enlist in the military, any of them, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, any of them, the Coast Guard, Space Force. I love Space Force, right? We couldn't get them, and even police departments, they couldn't get anybody with a uniform that represented the country. You couldn't get them. And today, we have the single greatest recruitment numbers in the history of our military. The police forces are loaded. Law enforcement is loaded up. And everybody wants to be a policeman, a fireman. They want to be in the military, any branch. I mean, we literally, they couldn't get them. A year and a half ago, nobody wanted to be in the military. Now everybody wants to be in the military. It's an amazing thing that's happened, an amazing turnaround. And all because we have a president who does something very simple, puts America first, right? Right? Thank you. So under my leadership, economic growth is exploding to numbers unheard of. They've never had them before in recent times, and now, and we're just getting started. You know, the great, big, beautiful bill, which is no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security for our seniors. Do we have any seniors in here? Do we have any seniors in here? One of the fake news said he did that because he doesn't want to pay tax on his Social Security. Don't you believe? That's what I never thought of. These are sick people. But despite the fact that we've just really started, it's just kicking in because we inherited such a horrible situation with all of the high prices and the inflation and everything else. And by the way, the open borders, we had millions and everything you see today wouldn't happen. They opened the borders, but we had a 5.4%. And since the election, the stock market is at 52 all-time highs, adding $9 trillion in value to your savings, retirement accounts, and 401ks. So 401k people, I mean, of which you got a lot of people. Does anybody have a 401k in the audience? A lot of people. So you're setting records, right? The highest it's ever been. They say this, you know, the good stock market, they say, well, this stock market, you know, they just try so hard. This stock market doesn't affect the middle class. I say it does. What about a 401k? What about all the other things? What about the fact that they're making more salary than they've ever made? But the stock market's the highest. How is John Deere stock doing? Great? All-time high? It's all-time. Everyone, I don't have to even ask the question. I mean, I made a lot of people rich. Me, I just keep working. I made a lot of people rich. I made a lot of people rich that I don't even like. I got a lot of people that I don't like at all, and I've doubled their net worth. But after 4 years in which Biden got less than $1 trillion in new investment, think of it. He took in substantially less in 4 years than $1 trillion. We secured commitments for a record-breaking plus 18 trillion. So in 1 year, we did over 18 trillion, and he did less than 1 trillion. Just over 1 year ago, under sleepy Joe Biden and the radical left lunatics, we were a dead country. We were a dead country. I'll tell you, 1 year ago, a little more than 1 year ago, we were a dead country. The king of Saudi Arabia told me that. You've heard me say it. He said it better than anybody else. He said, you know, I can't believe it. A few months ago, he said, a year ago, you were a dead country. Now you're the hottest country anywhere in the world. He said, I can't believe it. And today I'm pleased to announce one more historic investment. The great American company that we just talked about is doing so much. I have to give it really. I buy so much equipment from so many of the people in the, you know, we have a lot of very successful companies in here, but I know it's a very special deal because John Deere is doing $70 million in factory in North Carolina. It's brand new, the best in the world. And I think it's going to pay off very, very big. And if it doesn't, I have nothing to do with it. But if it does, I'm going to take full credit. But what it is an excavator factory, as I understand it, and it's going to be the only excavator factory. In other words, excavators. We all know I love those excavators. Believe it or not, I know a lot about them. We don't make them here. This is going to be the only excavator entirely made in the United States of America. So that's good. That's good. I love it. I love it. It's great. And they'll all come. I hate to tell you, but they're all going to be coming too. You're going to have some competition, but you'll be ahead of them. If congressional Democrats had their way this year, would right now be facing the largest tax hike. So they wanted to give you, this is what I was running against, the largest tax hike in the history of our country. I wanted to give you the largest tax cut in the history of our country. And if they won, this country would be cratering right now. It would be cratering. So I've cut a record number of job-killing regulations. The reason our job numbers are so good, and remember this, I've cut hundreds of thousands of federal jobs. Now, if I didn't do that, our numbers would be even more through the roof. Or I could get them. You know what they do? In order to have decent numbers, they hire 1 million people. You hire 1 million people, all of a sudden you're down to 3.5%. We don't do that. We get rid of that job. We have 10 jobs for every, you have 10 people for every job. And they are all now, and they hated me. They hated me. Now they love me. You know why? They all got jobs in the private sector, making twice as much money as they made for
Donald Trump, que está hablando mayoritariamente sobre la economía de Estados Unidos, dice que después de un año la economía está en auge y que sigue disparándose. Habla de la inflación, dice que ya ha sido destruida completamente y que desde las elecciones de ese pasado 5 de noviembre, donde ganó Donald Trump, el mercado bursátil ha crecido de forma exponencial. Además, acaba de hacer público este anuncio muy especial, según lo ha calificado el propio presidente de Estados Unidos, con la compañía de excavadoras, con John Deere. Dice Donald Trump que cree que va a ser y que va a dar un gran resultado en Estados Unidos y que si funciona bien, dice que se va a tomar el mérito en el caso de que así sea y que si finalmente no funciona tal y como está esperado por parte del presidente Donald Trump, entonces no se hará cargo de este último anuncio que acaba de anunciar. Vamos a seguir escuchando.
It's like taking a fighter, putting him in, he's getting the hell beat out of him, you take him out, and you put a new fighter in. I said, that's not fair, but that's what happened to me. The stuff that happened to me can only happen to me. But I repealed the Biden's EPA ridiculous water restrictions to keep federal bureaucrats off your land and out of your business. That was a big one. That was a big one. I terminated the so-called diesel exhaust fluid requirement. You know what that is? Saving family farmers more than $1 billion a year, and we're going to do a lot more. We're going to do something on tractors. You know, they never took we did it with cars. We took all that nonsense off the cars. You couldn't start your car. You'd have to go to MIT to get somebody to fix your car with all the crap they had on it in order to save a quarter of a glass of this much little tiny bit of gas. These people are crazy. And I'm going to do that, I think, for tractors, too, because we're going to get the tractors back where you don't have to be a PhD in order to start your tractor, in order to keep the environment clean. So much nonsense. I think it makes the environment dirty, actually. And very importantly, on day one, I kept my promise to the people of Iowa and abolished the insane electric vehicle mandate, which would have obligated you to go out and buy an electric car, but it would have obliterated a thing called ethanol. Do you like ethanol? Is it big? A lot of people are asking me about ethanol. I don't know. Do you want me to do something with ethanol? Maybe. After years of the United States getting ripped off by other countries on trade, I'm standing up for the workers and the farmers of our country like no other president has ever. No other president has done this. I mean, no other president has done this. I could have had an ACC presidency. I'd probably have this little piece of ear back, you know? Could have it, and I wouldn't have to listen to lunatics like this up there. I wouldn't have to listen. Isn't that nice? Thank you. Boy, they're good here. Do we love our law enforcement? They work very quickly. But under Sleepy Joe, we had the largest trade deficit in world history. But in 1 year, I've slashed our gaping trade deficit by a staggering 77%. How about that? What about that? That's pretty good, right? 77. Nobody's ever seen that. You know, if you slash your trade deficit by 1%, you're like a genius. They say, oh, he's very electable. He's not so electable. I did 77. I did something else, favored nations on drugs. We now are paying the lowest price anywhere in the world for drugs. In other words, matching favored nations. It's called most favored nations. Every other president tried for it. They didn't try very hard. They didn't get anything. I got it done. I got all the nations to agree. You think that was easy? I said, if you don't agree, we're going to put tariffs on you. They said, we agree. We agree. So you'll have a pill that costs $10, as an example, costs $10 in London, costs $130 in Des Moines, and now it's going to cost $20. Think of it. You'll go from $130 down to it's the biggest price reduction of prescription drugs in history, and would have a huge impact on your health care, too. I was very proud of it. And you know, the fake news, I can't get them to talk about it. Think of it. I got the biggest price reduction in history on drugs, pharmaceuticals. I can't get these guys to talk about it. It was page like 22 in the New York Times, a little story. I just got the biggest. I can't believe it. If a Democrat got a half a point down, this is like hundreds of, depending on the way you want to calculate it, you could say it's an 80% reduction, or you could say it's 1,000% reduction. You could say whatever you want, but it's the biggest reduction in history by many, many times. I did something because we were subsidizing the entire world. We were paying 10 times, in many cases, more money than the rest of the world. And I said it wasn't fair. And I got it done. And everyone said you could. They said, you'll never get other countries to agree. They said, yeah. I said, yes, I will. They said, you'll never get the other countries to agree. I got the drug companies. That was not easy, I want to tell you, but that was not so bad. But they even told me, we'll agree to it, but you'll never get the other countries. I said, 100% I will. Why wouldn't I get them? And I called Macron of France. I said, you got to double the price of your drugs. He said, no, I will not do that. What was the story with his glasses the other day? What the hell was that all about? But anyway, but I got them all. I don't want to go into a lawsuit. Bottom line, I said, I'm going to increase tariffs by 25. I'm going to charge you 25% tariff if you don't do it. They said, we will do it. We would be, why don't you ask? We'd love to do it. So I got something done that no other president could have gotten done, and no other president, I don't even think they tried. You want to know the truth? You think Biden was thinking about it? He just was thinking about how the hell to get off the stage. Remember, the guy could never find it. You have so many ways you can jump off the front if it really gets. You got stairs all over the place. The guy could never find his way off the stage. This was not a good sign. But I made new.
Bueno, pues un Donald Trump que está haciendo referencia continuamente a la última presidencia por parte de Joe Biden y comparándose con él, todo lo que ha conseguido en este año justo de su segundo mandato. Además, acaba de asegurar haber conseguido la mayor reducción de los precios de medicamentos de la historia. Y Trump bromea y dice que todavía no ha conseguido que ni aún así los demócratas puedan tener una buena palabra hacia él, lo que incluso le den la razón y hablen de la mayor reducción del precio del medicamento de la historia. Además, Trump está haciendo referencia al último anuncio con John Deere, con la empresa de excavadoras, que dice que se va a trasladar la producción de excavadoras de regreso a los Estados Unidos, con una nueva fábrica de al menos ha cifrado en $70 millones y va a ser en el estado de Carolina del Norte. Seguimos escuchando a Trump.
Will now allow the United States to supply up to 100% of automotive ethanol, and import large amounts of aviation biofuels from the United States. That's great for you. That was part of the deal that we made. The United Kingdom will import nearly $1 billion of ethanol. That's part of their deal. Australia is allowing American beef into its market for the first time in more than 20 years. Did you know that? And beef is doing great, and we got to get the prices down a little bit, and they're starting to come down pretty much. China has agreed to purchase over $40 billion of U.S.-grown soybeans. You know that. You're selling them. They're selling them. And I went to President Xi, and he's upping it. I mean, it's $40 billion. The European Union will dramatically increase purchases of American pork, dairy, and soybean oil. They never did that before. They're all doing things that they never did before because you have a certain president that's a little bit different from the presidents that you had before. And nations from Cambodia to Thailand to the Philippines and Indonesia are eliminating all trade barriers to agricultural products. Your agricultural products had trade barriers that didn't allow them to be sold in countries that are now saying, oh, please, we'd love to accept your product. So that's great. It's going to be, you're going to see it starting to kick in now for the farmers. And to further help our farmers recover from really a catastrophe of the Biden years, what a period of years that we had. We had a country that was just dead. We had a country that was just not respected by anybody. We had a guy who didn't know where the hell he was. Do you think he worried about his farmer at night? No, he just wanted to go to sleep. This is what we had. This is what we had in our fake election. We recently issued $12 billion in farm relief. We gave him because you were screwed by other countries. I said, how much is the number? To our great Secretary of Agriculture, Brooke Rollins. She's doing a great job. I said, Brooke, what's the number? And she said, $12 billion. And I wrote a check for $12 billion because we have so much money from the tariffs coming in. So you couldn't have done that before. We're a rich country now. I hope we win that Supreme Court case. You know, we have people that are China-oriented. They're people from literally that very China-oriented and foreign country-oriented trying to stop that, but we'll get it done one way or the other. We're going to do it. If we have to do it a different way, we'll do it. But we're taking in hundreds of billions of dollars. We're doing amazing. Nobody can even believe it. Foreign countries cannot believe what's happened. They're studying us, but it won't work. But I'm also working hard to expand your markets domestically. And in the campaign, I promise to support E15 all year round. Should I do it, Kaufman? Should I do it? I did. I promised E15 all year round if I get elected. And I want to let you know, and we'll start right now. I was going to put out a statement a week ago. I said, hold it. I'm coming to Iowa to make a speech. I'm not going to put out a truth. I'm not going to put, I want to be there in person to tell them, the people of Iowa, to know that I am trusting Speaker Mike Johnson, who's great, and Leader John Thune, who's great. That's House and Senate. To find a deal that works, we've got it. For farmers, consumers, and refiners, including small and mid-sized refiners. In other words, to get E15 approved, and they're working on it. They're very close to getting it done. So I just wanted to let you know that. Yeah? And China will be sending me a bill very shortly supporting year-round E15 to my desk very quickly, and I will sign it without delay, okay? I hope you remember us for the midterms. You know, the worst thing about the midterms is the fact that no matter what happens, the people that win the presidency, you win the even if you're a good president. I think we had the best first year of any president ever, maybe they say. But even if you have it great, it's like in the last 50 years, they've won it twice. Can you believe it? If something happens, there's a screw turns with the voters. So even if it's a Democrat or Republican, whoever wins the presidency has a hard time with the midterm. If we lose the midterms, you'll lose so many of the things that we're talking about, so many of the assets that we're talking about, so many of the tax cuts that we're talking about. And it would lead to very bad things. We got to win the midterms. I mean, I'm here because I love Iowa, but I'm here because we're starting the campaign to win the midterms. We got to win the midterms. That means Senate and it means House. Got to win them. It's crazy. You know, you'd think it would be like a 50-50 deal or something. It's like, for some reason, and this is Democrat too. Democrat wins the presidency. For some reason, they lose the midterms. Now, maybe they don't campaign as hard because they've I don't know, but I campaign hard. We got to win the midterms. So remember that you got to get out and you got to vote. The midterms are very important. We're gonna really work hard on winning the midterms. We have great candidates. Again, Senate and House. We have great candidates. We got to win them, and we have candidates that rule with common sense, not this craziness. You know, we're not going to be supporting transgender for all, men and women's sports, open borders, open borders. The worst is open borders because, you know, I take care of things, and, you know, inflation I had to beat very quickly and all, but this open border thing, you know, it's a lot of work. You're taking criminals that they allowed into our country where the jails are opened up. Remember the jails, the prisons all over, from all over the world, they're opened up. The Congo, all over South America, Venezuela, they opened up their jails. We got to get them out. I mean, it's really, really, we can never forget what that group of morons did to this country. We can never forget. And we've got to win the midterms. That's why we've got to win the midterms. As we bring trillions of dollars pouring into our country from overseas, we're also making America affordable again, a problem caused totally by the crooked Joe Biden administration. I mean, you know, I inherited this problem. They say, prices are too high. I just took over. They said, I'll never forget, I come here, I'm in 3 days, I have a news conference 3 days into my administration. What about the price of eggs? They've gone up like 5 times more. I said, I just got here. I didn't know about it. I'm sorry. And we got eggs down very quickly, remember? But I was standing there. I'm so happy. I just won. I thought the press was going to be so nice. And some lunatic right there, actually. What about the price of eggs? Eggs have gone up. I said, oh, tell me, give me a little, because I don't know. I just got here. I'm sorry. But I fixed it. Now I fixed it pretty much all, but it's going to go down even further. No, but they caused the problem. And then they came up, you know, it's a word that they came up with.
Bueno, pues el presidente de Estados Unidos, que ha hecho referencia a la última imagen pública que hemos visto por parte del presidente francés, el primer ministro francés, Emmanuel Macron, dice que llamó a Macron, le dijo que tenía que publicar el precio de los duplicar el precio de los medicamentos y que le respondió que no lo hará. Y también ha hecho referencia a las gafas que llevaba el otro día, que qué demonios pasó, que le encantaría saber por qué llevaba esas gafas el otro día en el Foro Económico Mundial de Davos. Además, Donald Trump hace referencia a la negociación a base de utilizar esos aranceles. Dice que los mayores beneficiarios de la recogida de ese dinero de otros países, gracias a los aranceles, van a ser los agricultores de Iowa, en primera instancia. Dice que son un país que es un país muy rico, Estados Unidos, sí, muy generoso, aunque China intente impedirlo, sacando de alguna manera a su homólogo chino, Xi Jinping. Además, traslada al pueblo y a los ciudadanos de Iowa que es una persona de fiar y que ya están cerca de aprobar el E15, que China está esperando justo Estados Unidos a que China le envíe una factura con el proyecto de ley que apoye el E15 y que entonces él mismo será quien lo firme. Y dice que espera que se acuerden de él en las elecciones de medio término, en las midterm, donde ya está empezando esa campaña Donald Trump, y también ha hecho referencia a que si no gana esas elecciones de medio término, entonces todos los beneficios y todos los avances que estaban consiguiendo en este segundo mandato se iban a estar frenando por completo. Además, ha hecho referencia al grupo de criminales venezolanos que entraban al país de Estados Unidos durante la administración de Joe Biden sin ningún tipo de control, gente que venía de Venezuela, mayoritariamente los excarcelados o los criminales. Dice que van a continuar con las fronteras cerradas y que tienen que sacar a ese grupo de idiotas, decía Donald Trump. Seguimos escuchando.
Think of it, that's a $5,000 swing, much faster. Wages have gone up much faster. Think of this than inflation. With him, it was just the opposite. Wages in the United States in the last year have gone up. And remember, the first part of the year, actually you could say almost the first year, I was fixing the country from the horror show that we inherited. Grocery prices, airfares, hotels, car payments, and rent prices have all come down, and they've come down very fast. And thanks to our tax cuts, millions of Americans will soon receive record-setting tax refunds, an average of more than $1,000. Think of that. $1,000 compared to last year, $1,000 just in what you're going to save with some of the tax cuts. And that number goes up exponentially over the course of 4 years. So it's amazing. It's called the Great Big Beautiful Bill. You know, one other thing that you get, I thought was so great. I came up with it. You know, very rich people get deductions. Middle-income people don't get deductions. They never had to. I said, why is it that when a rich person buys something, they get a deduction on interest, but when somebody that's working like hell, they don't get it if they want to buy a car? And I said, why can't somebody buying a car in America, only if it's made in America, if it's made in some other country, we have no interest. So I got it approved in the Great Big Beautiful Bill. You get a full tax deduction against your income tax. You get a full tax deduction. Think of it, if you purchase a car in America, if you borrow money, the interest that you're paying on that borrowed money is a full deduction for your tax purposes. And that's a tremendous deal. And you know what? It's also great for the car companies, because the car companies are going to be making a lot more cars that they couldn't believe it. And I got it passed. So just remember me as you take those deductions, please. The king of deductions. No, but it was always unfair the way a lot of people got treated. You take that deduction. One of those who will be seeing a big benefit thanks to our tax cuts is Erica Perltel. Where's Erica? Is she here? Erica? Where is Erica? Right here. Where is she? Oh, she's so beautiful. I'm not allowed to say that anymore. If I say a woman is beautiful, that's the end of your political career. You know, but how she is beautiful. How are you? Congratulations. What a good story. She's the general manager at Whiskey River Bar in Ankeny, Iowa. which, as you know, I visited strongly a couple of times in the campaign. And Erica's been able to hire many new employees, and they're each going to be taking home thousands and thousands of dollars extra because of the no tax on tips. And she's got a lot more people wanting to work for her, too, because of that no tax on tips. That's just one of many. How's that working out, Erica? Good? You want to come up and say a few words? Come on up, Erica. You want to come on up? And while she's coming up, also with us is Judy Waldron from Davenport. Judy works part-time as a bartender, and her husband, Chris, is an electrician who works hours on overtime each week. Their family is going to save thousands of dollars on no tax on overtime and no tax on tips, which they'll use to prepare for retirement. And I want to thank you, Judy. Where's Judy? Come here. Where's Judy? Come on up, Judy. Get up here. Come on up. They're totally unprepared for this, but what the hell, right? Say a few words. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, President Trump. No tax on tips is huge for everyone in the service industry. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I would just like to say the same thing. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much, and good luck. Thank you. I refuse to say they're beautiful. I refuse. But they're beautiful. Do all people look like that in Iowa? I don't think so. Thank you both. Congratulations, too. Great. That's great. We're not supposed to come up, but I looked at both of them and I said, get up here. We're also pleased to be joined by Governor Kim Reynolds. Kim, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Kim. Great. A man who's become a real star, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. Scott. He's become a star. He's done a real job. He knows his business. And he's a big cutter. He cuts a lot of things. Small business administrator, another real star, Kelly Loeffler. Kelly.
Bueno, pues Donald Trump, que hace referencia a Kelly Loeffler, a la que ha estado ayudándole para reducir y para ver esa medida efectiva de quitar los impuestos a las horas extra en Estados Unidos y también a los llamados tips, a las propinas que ellos reciben en cualquier trabajo. Además, dice que han asegurado conseguir una deducción fiscal sobre los coches que se fabrican en Estados Unidos, que no entiende cómo en la antigua administración de Joe Biden no se llevaba a cabo y que hasta la fecha, hasta que él ha entrado en este segundo mandato, era muy injusto cómo les estaban tratando a los estadounidenses. Y hace referencia, dice Donald Trump, lanza ese mensaje al pueblo de Iowa, dice que en el momento en el que ellos puedan disfrutar de esa deducción a la hora de que quieran comprarse un coche nuevo de Estados Unidos, que se acuerden de él para estas elecciones de medio término. Vamos a seguir escuchando.
Bobby Kaufman. Bobby. Guys, you gotta move her there. Thank you, Bobby. Great job. Great family. Former State Senate President leader. Now, I have to tell you about this guy. He endorsed me, the first person in the entire United States of America. It was a year before I even knew I was running, he endorsed me. He endorsed me because he thought I would be good. I wasn't even thinking about running. He was so early. He was the first person in the United States, before my wife, before my kids. State Senate President. He's a Marlboro man. He looks like the Brad Zahn. Where's Brad? Where are you, Brad? Come on up here. Get up here, Brad. And state representatives Heather Hora, Derek Wolf, Brooke Bowden, and many other wonderful members of the Iowa State House. I want to thank you all for being here. Brad, you got to say, look at this guy. Can you talk, Brad?
Well, it's an honor to be here And you know, my wife is a Fox News junkie, and she loves Laura Ingraham. And I tell her, I said, enjoy every second because you are the GOAT. Promises made, promises kept. Thank you.
He's the Marlboro man, right? He can do that, do whatever he wants. He was so early. I said, who the hell is that guy in Iowa that keeps endorsing me? Thank you, Brad. We won't forget. The Trump administration has done more in 12 months than most administrations achieve in 4 years or 8 years, and we've done a lot. I've recently introduced my plan to repair the damage of the Unaffordable Care Act, the worst disaster, which now costs many families more than a mortgage. If you look, a number came out, it's a bigger cost than a mortgage, and it's bad health care. Obamacare was created to make insurance companies rich with government subsidies. I want all that money that gets paid to the insurance companies to get paid directly to the people. That's all I want. So that you can buy better health care at a lower cost. The problem is the Democrats don't want to do that because they are owned by the insurance companies. So they say, oh, we don't want to do that. I want the money to be paid to the people to go out and buy their own health care. You'll buy much better health care. You have a lot of money left over. And I'm also making it a lot easier to buy a thing called a house, the American dream. Last week, I signed an executive order to ban Wall Street and large institutional investors from all single homes in America. Because I want America to become a nation of renters, and that's what they forced happen.
Ahora está haciendo referencia a las inversiones sobre las viviendas unifamiliares en Estados Unidos, pero hace apenas unos minutos acaba de confesar que gracias a todos los recortes de los impuestos en este segundo mandato de Donald Trump, dice que millones de estadounidenses pronto van a recibir los reembolsos de los impuestos récords después de esta última reforma, este último plan para los impuestos que se presenten este año de 2026 en Estados Unidos. Dice que alrededor de más de $1.000 van a ser recibidos por los estadounidenses en comparación al año pasado, 2025. Vamos a seguir escuchando a Donald Trump.
We're not going to bring that price down. I want to say, let them be rich. But we're strengthening Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac that you've heard about. And in the last 12 months, those institutions have supported over 22,000 Iowa families in purchasing or refinancing and saved over 3,000 Iowa families from losing their homes. We've come out and really helped a lot of people keep your home. And despite a bad Fed chairman, a guy that has we call him too late. He's too late. Jerome Too Late Powell, he's too late. He wasn't too late before the Democrats on the election, then he was too early. But he wants to keep rates as high as possible. Despite that, we've driven rates down. You know, when you're really good, you can get them down despite everything, because ultimately it just sort of follows nature. Mortgage interest rates are now at the lowest level in 3 years, and new mortgage applications are up 30%. By the way, well, we have a great Fed chairman. I think we're going to have one. I'll announce it pretty soon. You'll see rates come down a lot. And refinancings are up 100% compared to the end of the Biden term. Up 100%. We're also working tirelessly to bring back a thing called law and order. You know, there was a time. So there was a time that you weren't allowed to use the words law and order. I like that guy. You weren't allowed to use the term law and order. You weren't allowed to use the term Christmas. Merry Christmas, everybody, right? Remember that 2016? I ran on, we're going to bring back Christmas. We did. Now they're afraid to suggest it, but we brought that back. But law and order, we need law and order. And we have the lowest crime rate now in the history of our country. That's good, but we'll do even better. And as everyone is aware, we've totally and completely closed the southern border with little fanfare, but tremendous success. Where the southern border is closed, nobody's coming in. That's right. Nobody is able to come into our country, except for those that come in legally. We want to have people come in legally. We need people to come in legally, but they have to show that they can love our country, not hate our country. They have to show that they're not going to blow up our shopping centers, blow up our farms, kill people. They're coming in legally, but they cannot come in unless they come in legally into our country, and we're letting some great people come in. They have to show that they can love our country. They have to be proud. Not like Ilhan Omar. Did you see that wise guy? You know, she's always talking about the Constitution, provides me with the following. You know, the Constitution, she comes from a country that's a disaster. So probably it's considered, I think, it's not even a country, okay? It barely has a government. I don't think it does. They go to one thing, pirates. But they don't do that anymore. You know why? Because they get the same treatment from us as the drug dealers get. Boom, boom, boom. I don't care what ship they're attacking. When they attack, when we see them going in, ping, that's the end of it. It's amazing. You know, I don't know if you know, drugs coming in by water is down 97%. And we're trying to find out who the other 3% is, because we consider them the bravest people in the world. Who the hell are the 3%? But it's down 97%, and now we're taking them down on the land. The land is much easier than the sea. You had to do the sea first, but the sea is done. We haven't exactly helped the luxury fishing business, I would say. Would you like to go fishing? No, thank you. I'd rather. Let's go deep sea fishing today. Let's go on a little boat deep sea fishing. Sorry about that. But we're down 97%. We've done a job. I'll tell you, we've made our country respected again. The greatest military. We have the greatest military in the world. You know, I rebuilt our military in our first term, and we have the greatest military in the world. So you read much about Minnesota, where, unbeknownst to the public, we have brought down crime very substantially in Minnesota. We've taken out thousands of hard criminals, hardened, vicious, horrible criminals. You don't read about things like Washington, D.C., where there is virtually no crime, and it was horrible a year and a half ago. Memphis, Tennessee, which was a real disaster, and now it's down. Crime has dropped by 78% in the last 2 months. New Orleans, Louisiana. I was asked by the governor of Louisiana to help them with New Orleans. It was a disaster, and crime is down 54% in about 3 weeks. You don't read about that. And we've done all of this by taking thousands of criminals out of these states. We took over 2,000 people out of Washington, D.C. These were criminals. You know, if you remember, about 2% of the population, it's a very simple business. 2% of the population causes 90% of the crime. So when you start decimating that 2%, boom, that's why we have the, it's an amazing number when you think. These days, you know, it's just crime over and over and over. 2% creates 90% of the crime. Isn't that amazing? It's not that complicated, is it? In 1 year, we've achieved the largest drop in the murder rate in the history of our country. Drug overdose deaths are down by 21%. The largest drop ever recorded. We got to do better than that. And I've designated the drug cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. Big deal. And despite the strong efforts of the fake news media, we are starting to see the historic success reflected in tremendous polls. We have great polls. In last week's Rasmussen poll, we're leading among Hispanic voters. We're leading by a lot. Nobody's ever seen a Republican lead among Hispanic voters. You know, Hispanic voters don't want crime. People don't realize that. Hispanic voters want strong voters.
Bueno, dice que quiere continuar ganando los votos hispanos para estas elecciones de medio término, y también que han bajado su tasa de criminalidad desde que está en este segundo mandato. Donald Trump asegura que las drogas que llegaban por agua han bajado al menos un 97%. con estas actuaciones que hemos venido viendo, hemos estado viendo durante los últimos meses, en cuanto también a la relación con Venezuela, con México, y también dice que han hecho, gracias a estos actos, que el país de Estados Unidos vuelva a ser respetado por otros países, y dice que tienen el mejor ejército del mundo ahora mismo, aunque también están reduciendo la tasa de criminalidad en Minnesota y eliminando a miles de criminales. De momento no ha hecho demasiada referencia a lo ocurrido por el ICE este pasado sábado, aunque sí que está diciendo que ahora están intentando eliminar la entrada de drogas por la vía terrestre. Ya lo han hecho en la vía marítima, la vía naval, que ha bajado ya un 97%, y ahora les queda actuar por vía terrestre. También Donald Trump hace referencia justo en estos momentos sobre Somalia. Dice que son muy buenos con la piratería, pero que ya no lo hacen, y dejaba esa pregunta al aire. ¿Sabéis por qué están dejando de actuar y entrar de forma como los piratas hacían antiguamente? Dice que porque reciben el mismo trato que reciben los narcotraficantes, y hacía referencia a que con esa bomba, con esos explosivos en las narcolanchas, quedaban totalmente destruidos, que por eso no actúan ya desde Somalia. Vamos a seguir escuchando.
Venezuela on steroids. And I've said it for years. And you know what? They will destroy our country. The country would have been destroyed already. We're fully rebuilding the U.S. military with more than $1 trillion we're spending on the military. And in June, we obliterated Iran's nuclear capacity in Operation Midnight Hammer. You saw that. People have been waiting for 22 years to do that, and we were right at the end. They were about a month away from having a nuclear weapon. We had to do it. And by the way, there's another beautiful armada floating beautifully toward Iran right now. So we'll see. I hope they make a deal. I hope they make a deal. They should have made a deal the first time they'd have a country. And just weeks ago, in a spectacular operation in Venezuela, we brought the outlaw dictator Nicolas Maduro to face American justice. In one of the most brilliant, lethal, quick, they've never seen violent operations ever seen, military operations ever seen. Nobody was killed, not on their side. A lot of people, unfortunately, I have to say a lot. We went into a very big, powerful military base with a group of unbelievable, talented, patriotic people that love our country. You couldn't hold them back. You know, the weather was off for 3 nights. It was not good, so I delayed it. The next night it was okay, but not great. I said, General, sir, they're ready to go. Sir, they're okay. I said, but the weather's a little bad. I said, sir, they're ready to go. I said, God bless you, General. And boy, did they do a job. Joe Biden and his allies, in conclusion, in Congress did everything they could to destroy our country, but they failed. And today, after just 1 year since my second inauguration, you know, we have a new hat. It's called America is Back. America is back. Our border is secure. Our spirit is restored. Inflation is stopped. Incomes are up. Prices are down. Our economy is roaring. Our workers are thriving. And our country is winning again, winning like never before. We've never had a period of time like this. You've never had a period of time. I just left a great group of people from Iowa, and half of them were crying as they talked to me. I don't think they were crying because I'm doing a bad job. You know, in theory, you cry if you do a bad. They were crying because I've done a good job. Sir, they said, sir, you brought our country back. Crying. One woman was fantastic. She grabbed me and she put her head right there, and her tears are pouring all over my beautiful suit. I figured I'd get it. And I checked it out, and there was a lot of makeup all over. I said, what the hell am I going to do? I got to get myself in trouble. No, but she was crying, and I said, don't cry. Be happy. Be happy. With the help of the incredible people of Iowa, we're
Bueno, pues acabamos de escuchar al presidente Donald Trump como dice que una flota está navegando en estos precisos momentos hacia Irán. Ahora mismo se dirige esa flota maravillosa que califica Donald Trump. Además, ha hecho referencia a la actualización con Maduro. Dice que ya se va a tener que enfrentar a la justicia estadounidense después de haber sido capturado por parte del ejército militar que, según asegura Donald Trump, entraron en una base con un ejército militar muy grande y que nadie resultó herido y nadie murió. También hacía referencia a la situación con la Reserva Federal. Mañana, ya saben, conoceremos la decisión de tipos por parte del presidente actual de la Fed, Jerome Powell, y dice Trump que va a anunciar pronto la elección del siguiente presidente de la Reserva Federal, precisamente quien sustituye al cargo de Jerome Powell en esta primavera de 2026. Vamos a seguir escuchando.
But this until we came along, this used to be a Democrat state, and then we turned it. Barack Hussein Obama, have you heard of him? He won both times, didn't he win both? He won twice, you know. Barack Hussein Obama, wonderful president, really brought people together, didn't he? But Barack Obama won twice, you know, and so everyone said, well, Iowa, you know, they had this down as not winnable, and we won in a landslide. 3 times we won in a landslide. Together with all of you, the citizens from all across this incredible, beautiful land, we will make America powerful again. Oh, we've done it. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America healthy again. That's happening. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And most importantly, we will make America great again. Thank you, Iowa. Thank you. Thank you.
Pues así termina su discurso en Iowa el presidente de Estados Unidos bajo el lema de bajar los precios todavía más y anunciar mayores subidas en cuanto a las ganancias y en cuanto al dinero que reciba la gente en Estados Unidos. Dice Trump, ha hecho referencia a la situación con Irán, dice que hay una hermosa armada flota con rumbo a Irán ahora mismo, así que ya verán, esperan que lleguen a un acuerdo lo antes posible y que se lo hagan llegar al presidente de Estados Unidos. Pues así termina este viaje por parte del presidente de Estados Unidos en Iowa, haciendo escala, se dirige hacia Minnesota en estos momentos. Hacemos una pequeña pausa publicitaria y enseguida volvemos.
Es la de Macron. Francia al borde del colapso. No vivía un movimiento de salida de tantas mociones de censura contra los primeros ministros que va poniendo uno detrás de otro, van cayendo. No, es que Europa crece. ¿Qué va a crecer Europa? Si lo que hace es endeudarse. Y ahora que ya tienes todo el modelo al borde del colapso y que ve la élite que la situación ahora mismo es dramática, que le está diciendo una parte de la población, vamos a las calles. Vamos a las calles. ¿Qué es lo que ya definitivamente termina por controlarlos a todos, por observarlos a todos, por tenerlos a todos en el punto de mira? El anillo de Sauron en el entorno europeo, el euro digital. A partir de aquí, se finí. El gobierno de turno le está diciendo, vivimos mejor que nunca. Dicen, vivirás tú, que estás en tu palacio. Pero no nos tomes el pelo. Es que el presidente del gobierno gana poco dinero. Los cojones. Gana un dineral, porque si gana 90.000, 100.000 euros, más un chalet de 15.000 euros, más el Falcon cuando quiere, más un helicóptero, más para ir a Benicassin, más las vacaciones en Marruecos, ¿cuánto gana la casta política? Y encima se ríen de nosotros, que gana poco el presidente del gobierno. ¡Los cojones! ¿Cómo que gana poco?
Donald Trump vuelve a sacudir al mundo y esta vez el impacto no es solo político, es financiero y global.
We needed financials. We need Greenland for national security.
La presión de Donald Trump sobre Groenlandia está encendiendo las alarmas en los mercados internacionales. La razón: Europa posee cerca de 8 billones de dólares en bonos del Tesoro, bonos y acciones de Estados Unidos. Si Europa decide vender, el golpe a la economía estadounidense podría ser histórico. Esta semana los bonos del Tesoro comenzaron a caer y los rendimientos subieron a su nivel más alto en más de 4 meses. Una señal clara de nerviosismo. El economista George Saravelos, jefe de divisas de Deutsche Bank, fue directo.
Europa es dueña de Groenlandia y también es dueña de muchos bonos del Tesoro de Estados Unidos.
Estados Unidos, pese a su poder militar, tiene una debilidad clave. Depende del dinero extranjero para financiar su deuda. Cuantos más países confíen en el dólar, más fuerte es la economía estadounidense. Pero si esa confianza se rompe, el sistema entero tiembla. El secretario del Tesoro de Estados Unidos recuerda que el volumen de inversión de Dinamarca es irrelevante y que Macron ha hecho mucho ruido sobre el mercado de bonos.
The size Denmark's investment in U.S. Treasury bonds, like Denmark itself, is irrelevant. And also, as I said yesterday, I think it is very difficult to disaggregate any of the noise around Greenland, around these inflammatory statements by President Macron, by President van der Leyen. I'm not concerned at all.
Hoy Europa enfrenta una decisión crítica: seguir apoyando a su principal aliado o proteger sus propios intereses económicos. Para muchos inversionistas el mensaje es claro: los activos estadounidenses ya no son tan seguros y plantean esta otra alternativa, el oro, que vuelve a brillar como refugio. Trump puede querer Groenlandia, pero 8 billones de dólares le ponen un límite muy claro a su poder de negociación, porque cuando los mercados hablan, ni siquiera una superpotencia puede ignorarlos.
Chat control, votación, minuto y resultado. 12 Estados miembros de Europa están a favor de implementar ya el gran hermano sobre todo lo que escribas y todo lo que compartas. 8 Estados miembros en contra, 7 indecisos. En lo que ahora mismo es la gran partida alrededor de ese chat control que va a marcar gran parte del camino, ¿no? Alrededor de cómo la Unión Europea puede o podría, si esto se aprobara y no quedar parado como sucedió en el 24, lo vuelve a traer en el 25 hasta que salga la Unión Europea.
¡Qué pisazo! 900 contactos.
¿Has buscado en Fotocasa?
Y 3.500 favoritos.
¿Has buscado en Fotocasa?
¡Qué estrés!
¿Has buscado en Fotocasa?
¿Has buscado en Fotocasa?
Buscar casa en Fotocasa es buscar diferente, con tranquilidad, confianza y muchas casas. ¿Has buscado en Fotocasa?
Estás on fryer. Con los rebozados para air fryer de Pescanova. Lo bueno sale bien. En air fryer también.